Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to my Elements of Microeconomics class. In this particular lecture, we're going to look at the definition of economics. In other words, what economics is all about. And then we also discuss the concept of scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. Then we end with the reason why economics is regarded as a science. So without much ado, let's look at the definition of economics. Now, the subject economics has been defined in different ways by different authors at different times. First of all, Adam Smith, who is regarded as the father of the subject, defined economics as an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations. An inquiry, an investigation, trying to verify, understand why some countries are so wealthy or some individuals are so rich and others are so poor. This is the definition given by the father of the subject, an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nations. Now, other economists like Alfred Marshall, Paul Samuelson also gave their own definitions. But then, the most widely quoted one is the one given by Professor Lionel Robbins. According to him, economics is a science that studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. A science that studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So in this definition, you realize that economics is about the relationship between ends and means. But then, what did Lionel Robbins mean by ends? When I talk of ends, the ends are our needs and wants. The things you want to have, our targets, our aim, the goals, the things we are dreaming to have in life. These are the ends, human ends. For instance, food, we want to have food, we want to have clothes, we want to have better accommodation, better medical care, and what have you. Now the question is, the things we need or want in life, can we ever finish listing them? No. If you want to list, you continue to list and list and list and list and list till the kingdom come. And therefore we say that our ends are unlimited. The ends have no limit. And then the ends are also numerous and then insatiable. Why are we saying the ends are insatiable? They are insatiable because no one is ever satisfied with what he or she has. You get iPhone 12 today, tomorrow you want to get iPhone 13, the next day you want to get iPhone 14, and so on. So it's like, at the moment a new one is, or a new version is introduced, then you begin to feel that no, you have to get the newer version. And that means that we are never satisfied with what we have. Now, the other term in the definition is means. What are the means? The means are the resources, economic resources, the resources which we have to use to produce our ends. Basically, they're the factors of production or the inputs of production. And this comprises land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Now, these means of production are very difficult to come by. So we say the means of production are scarce. You all know getting a very good land, a very good person to work with, and then getting capital, for instance, money, capital, man-made assets meant for further production, machines, and what have you. These are very scarce. Entrepreneurs, people who are creative, they are scarce. So, the resources, the factors which we have to use to obtain what we want or what we wish to have in life are always not enough. And that is why there's always the need to manage them very well. Otherwise, tomorrow we say, had I known. What therefore is economics? Economics is about trying to manage the little resources that you have, trying to manage them in a way that will give you maximum satisfaction. So managing resources in order to maximize satisfaction. And these resources are scarce. And in actual fact, it's because the resources are scarce, that is why we learn economics. If resources were to be in abundance, the subject economics would not be necessary. So what is scarcity? Scarcity is the limitedness of resources in relation to man's demand for them. So comparing what we need with what we have, we can see that what we have is always not enough. And that is why we have to manage them very well so that tomorrow we will not say had I known. Now, without much ado, we want to talk about the concept of choice and then scale of preference and opportunity cost. Because the resources are scarce, there's always the need to make choices. So scarcity will compel us to choose. Why don't you buy all the things you need at the same time? It's all because of the fact that economic resources are scarce. So there's a need to choose between what will satisfy and what will not satisfy. And how do we make choices? We make choices by listing our needs and wants in order of importance. So if you have learned economics, you don't spend anyhow. What you do is that you list all the resources. You list them. You list the things you need. You list them in order of importance. You list them. That's your scale of preference. And then ask yourself, this particular item and that one, which one will give me a greater or higher satisfaction before you make a decision to do what? To purchase it. Now, assuming that you have 2,000 cedis, you have to pay fees. At the same time, get an accommodation. So 2,000 fees, 2,000 accommodation. The question is, which of them must you satisfy first? Should you pay the fees or pay for the accommodation? So, assuming you pay the fees and then sacrifice the accommodation, what you have given up is termed as opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. And you see, in life we say there's no free lunch. There is no free lunch. Everything has a cost. As you are getting this particular option, then it means that you have to sacrifice the other. So what you are giving up is termed as what? Opportunity cost. So now, as you are in class, what are the things that you could have done which you are not doing? All those things constitute the opportunity cost of your being here. If you didn't come to school, you might have been sleeping, watching movies, and then what have you. But remember that as you are also doing that, it's a cost. It's a cost. What you are sacrificing, it's a cost. But then you always have to choose the one which will give you the highest what? Satisfaction. Okay. So the question is, why is economics considered a science? Because in the definition, Leonard Robbins said economics is what? A science. It's simple. Economists adopt or employ scientific methods in their analysis. And what are scientific methods? You know, scientists, before they come up with theories, before they come up with laws and what have you, there are some kind of procedures they follow. And economists also follow the same procedures. What are these procedures? One, making observations, like what Isaac Newton did. Isaac Newton observed that anytime a fruit, like say mango, falls from a tree, it doesn't go up. It comes back towards the earth's surface. It's an observation he made. But he realized that on the moon, it's not like that. On the moon, if you throw something up, don't expect it to come back towards the what? Earth's surface or whatever. But then as you throw it, it will just go very far. So Isaac Newton observed that then what happens on the moon is different from what happens on Earth. Because on Earth, you throw something up, it comes down. But on the moon, you throw something up, it doesn't come down, but then it may go somewhere else. So when he made this observation, then he started by making what? Investigation into it. Now, when you make observation, you develop an assumption. And this assumption is called what? Hypothesis. Hypothesis. So what is a hypothesis? A hypothesis is just an assumption that has been formulated, which may be true or false. But then, after the hypothesis has been formulated, there's a need to gather data, and then verify whether that hypothesis is actually true or not. If the hypothesis is true, then it becomes a law, but we have to test it. We have to use statistical methods to test it, and then verify whether it is true or not. So basically, this is what we call scientific methods. Now, before economists also come up with theories, they also follow the same procedure by making observations, by formulating hypotheses, by making statistical test and analysis in order to arrive at a conclusion. So the methods adopted by scientists in formulating theories are more or less the same as the methods employed by economists in making analysis. And that's why we say economics is what? A science. So at the end of the day, when the theories are formulated, the theories are used to predict and explain. So as scientists can make predictions, economists can also make what? Predictions.